What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Taking a slight break from the quintuplets, we have a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I've been cooking up two particular deck builds, and this is one of the two. This is actually really fun. I have an 8 standby one that I'm working on as well, but I wanted to do something that wasn't 8 standby. Instead, let's just do 4 standby. This particular deck is focusing around the Zuko and Iroh combined with Toph, and Toph is one of my favorite characters. She is really, really awesome. And I had a really fun idea, basically, of being able to stand by in the level 1 Toph right here that can early play the level 3. Granted, by the effect, you can't do it unless you're level 2, but it's kind of cool to be able to, like, stand by them in if you hit, like, an extra one or something in the back row. But trying to focus on having the level 3 Toph right here for your main engine, which we'll get talking about in just a second here. And just having your finisher be the Zuko for honor. And like I said, we're going to get into each of the specific effects, and let's do that right now. The only card I would say you can go without is going to be this particular Toph Brainstormer right here. I will explain why. It's more price point than anything, but this is a really good Brainstormer. But like I say, let's jump right into it. To start off, we have Toph Metal Bending. It's a 3/2, 10,500 attack. On attack, if you have Invention of Metal Bending, which is a gold bar, in your climax area, you have another World of Avatar character. You can pick one of the following effects and perform it. Either you get to choose a character in your waiting room, add it to your hand, and then choose a character in your waiting room, put into your stock, or you can pay 2 stock to burn your opponent for 2 damage. Which, having the choice up there is really good, but this is just a really good cheap card overall. Being able to get that kind of hand advantage, like especially being able to early play this at level 2, be able to build up some extra stock, being able to get back the cards that you need from waiting room very easily and efficiently is a very nice card. And the second effect that this has, not even climax combo related, is when this card is frontal attacked, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. Basically letting you mill cards off the top of your deck to hopefully get you to push to a damage getting canceled or something of that nature. Possibly even tossing standby targets into your waiting room for later. But this is kind of the core of, I wanted to be able to pull this out, and I figured let's do it with some standby shenanigans. But this is a very good engine. No matter what deck you're trying to run, it's a really good card. We got one copy of Toph Melon Lords, a 3/2 10k. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay 1 stock to make your opponent put all of their stock into their waiting room, and then put the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock. A Buns for Luck on a character. And when this card direct attacks, you can choose a World of Avatar character in your waiting room and put it into your stock. And with a lot of standby decks, your opponent's probably just going to be running running characters into your other bigger characters. So quite often they end up having open lanes that you can direct attack with and take advantage of this. Just throwing that out there and saying. But pretty cool. I feel is a good one of because of the stock swap effect. So you got 3 copies of Iroh, the Dragon of the West. It is a 3/2 8/5, but you're typically not going to be attacking with this. This is more of a back row card. All of your other Zuko and Aang, the Dancing Dragon, which is a separate level 3, and Zuko for honor get the following ability. When this card attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose 1 card from amongst them, put it on top of your deck, put the rest into your waiting room. The little top checking effect that Nino's become nefarious for. All of your other World of Avatar characters get plus 1500 power, and it has a Brainstorm of pay 1, rest 2 of your characters, flip over the top 4 cards of your deck. For each climax revealed, perform the following action. Look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card amongst them, put into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. You get to pick any card, your opponent doesn't get to see what it is. You can grab climax combos, you can grab whatever. Very nice there, and 3 copies of that, specifically because you do want enough copies of this to be able to summon into the backstage, because the level 3 Zuko does have to have the Iroh on field for its climax combo. So first off, 3/2 8k Zuko for honor. If all of your characters are World of Avatar, it gains 3000 power, so it's a constant 11k. On play, you get to heal 1, very good. And when Siblings Agni Kai, which is the standby, is placed in your climax zone, if you have another Iroh, the Dragon of the West, this gets +1 soul and the following ability until end of turn. When this damage dealt by this card is canceled, you may stand this card just for free. So typically you're going to have this on your center stage, and when you play the siblings Agni Kai, you summon one of the Iroh to the back row. So one that buffs him up even further, giving the extra 1500 power, making him a 12-5 minimum for the combo. You don't even have to reverse with this. Just if his damage gets canceled. He also, where standby doesn't give stats, so it gives itself a +1 soul. So it's swinging as if it were swinging at 3 soul, as if it had gotten kind of a buff from the climax. And just a free restand on top of healer is just really fucking nice. So I felt this was a mandatory I wanted to include. Especially because the other, I wanted to initially run the other level 3, sorry, it was mentioned on the Iroh, the one that says Zuko and Aang Dancing Dragon. The initial combo I wanted to do was that Zuko and Aang with the Toph, but there's no healers if I do that. There is like a level 3 promo Zuko that's like, it has a heal on play or something, but it was really expensive. It was like an $8 or $9 card, and I'm like, fuck that, we're not doing that. So I'm like, fuck it, we're just going with the Zuko for honor, because this is like it's like a 75-cent card or some shit. That's it for the level 3s. Let's hop into the level 2s. We got Toph and Aang Earthbending Lessons. It's a 2/1 2500 backup. When you use this card's backup, you may pay the cost, which is paying 1 stock, discarding 1 card, and sacking 1 character from your stage. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters. You may put the top card of your opponent's clock into their waiting room. And if you do, choose one of your opponent's characters with a level higher than your opponent's level and put it into their clock. A clock swapping anti-change. I think I may have seen this like one other time ever, and I could be wrong on that. It doesn't happen that often, but it's like, hey, you're definitely getting off the field. And you can pay the, like, having to sack a character strategically in case your opponent has like a crazy on reverse combo that you're like, I don't think so. That's not going to happen right now. So 1 copy of that. You can bump this up to 2 copies if you wish. The end resulting of the cart that I put together on TCG Player, I did put more copies of a lot of the cards here in that cart, just to make up, like, for if you kind of wanted to see your options of price point, as well as like you can change around some ratios. So there are more copies of this in the cart. Then we have 3 copies of Iroh buffed. He be looking swole. Just need to have Iroh with like the Giga Chad face. It is a 2/2 If you have 2 or more other World of Avatar characters, it gets 3k power constantly, so it's just an 8/5 basically. And then it also gets the following ability. When your character's trigger check reveals a crit trigger in its icon, choose one of your World of Avatar characters, and that character gets plus 1500 power for the turn. Also, it has an additional effect of, during your turn, all of your other World of Avatar characters get plus 1500 power in general. Just another big buff. And typically, like, you don't mind getting this out at level 2. You really don't, because it can get swole. But typically at level 2, you're wanting to have as many of these on field as possible. But I still wanted to include a good level 2 standby combo, or a standby target. Next, we have a bit more backup, but at the same time, this is part of your combo. We have, that was also it for the level 2s. We have a 1/1 2500 backup Toph Prankster, but it has a climax combo when Invention of Metal Bending is placed in your climax area, the gold bar, and your level is 2 or higher. You can sack this card to the waiting room, and if you do, choose 1 Toph Metal Bending, the level 3, in your hand and put it in the stage position this card was on. So this is the card that lets you early play. Like I said, if you get copies of this in the waiting room and you're able to like stand by them in, just kind of set it up for later, it works out pretty well. The rest of your level 1s also are all cost 1, but it doesn't matter. So we have Zuko Near the Campfire as a 1/1 If you have another World of Avatar character, this gets 1500 power, so it's a constant 6000. And the following abilities. When this card attacks, you may pay the cost, which is 1 stock. If you do, during this attack, perform a trigger check 2 times on the trigger step. So Twin Drive, for those who are unfamiliar with the terminology, as well as it has a constant character encore. So really nice there. When this card's trigger check reveals a card with a crit trigger icon, this gets plus 1000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This could be pretty beefy if you use the Twin Drive effect and reveal 2 cards with crit trigger icons. It can get a plus 2000 power for your opponent's turn, making it a sizable 8k. Not saying that's going to happen every single time, but you know, if you're able to at least get once, like 1 crit trigger off the 2 reveals, making it anywhere from a 7 to an 8k defensively, pretty nice. And Twin Drive is, I've discovered more with like running the Ichika deck, is actually more useful than I thought it used to be. So that's just me. But continuing right along, we have Iroh, Order of the White Lotus, 3 copies of this. It's a 1/4K with a crit trigger icon, I should say. If the character facing this card is cost 0 or lower, this cannot become reversed. The Nino, the blue level 1 Nino from Quintuplets has spoiled me for loving being able to stand by in cards that have this. You can't be reversed by cost 0 or lower characters is just really nice. And then when your other World of Avatar character attacks, this gets plus 1,000 power till end of turn. So if you attack with him last, it'll be a 6k. Really nice. That's it for the level 1s. Getting to the level 0s, and like I said, some changes can be made here with the Toph Wanted, but this is still a good brainstormer. So 0015, up to 1 time per turn when you use an act, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck or the bottom of your deck. As well as a brainstorm of pay 1, rest this card, mill 4. For each climax, choose a character in your waiting room, add it to your hand. Really cool. 4 copies of Dai Li Agents. This is actually kind of underrated, and I'm kind of surprised that no one's really utilizing this one more. It's a 0015, but if your stock has 2 or less cards, this gets plus 1 level and 1,000 power, making it a 2500 level 1, meaning it can run over any reversers or anything of that, stock bombs, clock bombs, anything of that nature. But its second effect is actually where I like it the most, which is when this is placed on stage from your hand or put into the waiting room from the stage. So on play or on death. Look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. That's just really useful overall to go, oh, I see a good standby target. Let me go ahead and pitch it to the waiting room. Or, oh, I see that this is a climax. Let me put it back on top of the deck and now use my brainstorm. Depends on what you need it for. But I just feel this is a really underutilized card, and I actually like it. So 4 copies of that. 3 copies of Iroh T Server. It's a 002K. On play, you get to choose one of your World of Avatar characters. It gets 1,000 power till end of turn. And when you play a climax, you get to bounce this back to your hand to choose one of your characters and give it plus 1 soul till end of turn. The typical bounce back effect to open up a backstage slot for standby or whatever. This is just a really good card overall. 4 copies of Zuko T Server. So we serving up some tea up in this bish. It's a 0015. On play from stage to stage from hand, you can discard a World of Avatar character to draw 1 card. It lets you discard your standby targets to draw cards. Really cool. And when the damage dealt by this card is canceled, you may put this card into your stock, which is not insignificant considering all of our level 1s need a stock to be able to be played. This is kind of nice. 2 copies of Zuko and Iroh Forgiveness. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you can pay 1, pitch 1, choose a World of Avatar character in your waiting room, return it to your hand, choose one of your other World of Avatar characters, and it gets 1,000 power till end of turn. Typically, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be trying to get Toph Metal Bending back with that effect into your hand. If you also need to set up for future plays because you already have these in hand or whatever, that's, whatever, grab your Zuko for honor or whatever. But you're typically going to be trying to get this into your hand because the level 1 Toph summons from the hand. So just keep that in mind. And its secondary effect is when damage dealt by this card is canceled, you may return this card to your hand. Just be able to reuse it for later, which is kind of nice. And lastly, we have 1 copy of My Betrayal. The first effect doesn't matter because it's a resonate with an Azula that we don't run, but the Brainstorm effect is a pay 1, rest this card, mill 4. For each climax, search your deck for a World of Avatar character and add it to your hand. So we get a search and a salvage Brainstorm as well. So only 1 copy of that, but I got a reason to explain that in just a second here. We got 4 copies of Invention of Metal Bending and 4 copies of Siblings Agni Kai. So yeah, this is actually a very, very fun deck to run. Just being able to get the Toph on the field to just get all the advantage in the world, craft your hand how you want, have the stock to be able to play whatever the hell you really want. It can be really, really nice. So let's talk price point. So upon the initial cart building for this deck, I did not include any copies of Toph Wanted because, as you can see from the price on screen right now, the Toph Wanted goes for about $6 a piece, roughly. And that's not a lot of people selling them at playsets. I was able to pull one and then was able to snatch up 1 copy for $4 a while back. So I was able to include this in the deck build because it is a very, very good brainstormer. So I wanted to kind of include it, but this is the most expensive card in the deck. So I put together a cart utilizing extra copies of all the cards in here anyway, so you can change it up how you want. But it came up to about a 60 card cart that you can use 3 copies of My Betrayal for your brainstormer if you so wish, because it comes up to about $19, showing you on screen. The entire cart, $60 60 cards worth from about 3 different sellers, only cost about $19. So a little over $20 after tax, which is pretty damn good for this kind of a deck. Like I said, because the Toph is the most expensive one, I didn't want it to be a you have to run this. No, it's optional. But I did add 2 copies of it to the cart because I found someone who was selling 2 copies. Little under $6, and it came up to about $32 and some change. So if you were to add like tax and everything, this entire deck right here is probably about $35. So it is really cool that it is this cheap, and it can, like I said, it can be even cheaper. It's a $20 deck if you don't include the Tophs, and there's obviously other cards you could change around and kind of adjust your ratios accordingly depending on your preference. But this deck works, and it's very, very fun. I just didn't want it to break the bank. But honestly, if 2 copies of this you're the only expensive card that you buy for a $35 deck, that's pretty damn good. Like, to me at this point, anything under 50 is pretty decent. So to get it to about like $35 is pretty cool. I say cool, but you know, it's kind of hot if you understand what I'm saying here, because the Firebend is. But yeah, like I said, there's other changes that can be made to the deck, but this is just what I'm working with, what I'm cooking with currently. We're cooking with fire. Okay, I'll stop the puns. But with that, thank y'all very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If not, hey, it's all good. Thanks for stopping by. But do feel free to join our Discord. Link for that will be in the description. Feel free to join. We get to talking about all sorts of deck theories and ideas and stuff in the chats. And we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.